Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the look. I still don't have contacts, but they are on their way, so hopefully I don't have to say that for very many more times after that, but we will see. Everything is looking pretty decent right now. I do have a lot of fallout on my face, but I didn't do foundation before, so I'm just going to leave everything and then I'll go in with a makeup wipe afterwards, just because that is how we do things around here. I don't know how people can do their eyes after their foundation. I try to do it every once in a while and I can't do it. Okay, so the first shade we're going to start off with is Mar. So this shade right here. So starting with Mar. From there, we're gonna go into Rust, this shade right here. So we're just using Rust to blend the first shade out. After Rust, we're going to go into Antique. I was literally just going to tell you guys that I had to actually fight myself and not use Erode instead of Antique, but I did that in the last look that I did in my first impressions video, which, by the way, if you haven't watched that, I'm going to try to do that little thingy where you put the video link up top. Obviously, I'm a noob YouTuber, so I don't know how to do that yet. But I'm going to try to do that, so it'll be somewhere up there if I figured it out. I was just thinking of telling you guys that I needed to fight myself off from using the shade Erode, which is that really pretty yellow shade. I just dipped my brush into that shade, even though we're not using that in this look. I just love that shade so much. Okay, it's alright, I'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to go into Antique, and that's basically just helping to blend everything out. I'm totally going to take a different brush. And we're going to take Antique and then also drag that under the eye. Definitely using a brush that is way too big and fluffy for this, because I'm poking my eye, but totally fine. Okay, so from there I also took a little bit of Rust, and that's gonna go right near the lash line, and we're gonna take that basically the whole length of the eye. And then I'm going to take Mar. Don't ask me why I keep wanting to say Mark. Don't ask me why. Okay, and then we're taking Mar, but we're going to do it on the outermost part. So just right here. I kind of did things a little out of order, but we're just rolling with it. For the shimmer shade, we're going to use Ravage, which I'll show you guys what shade that is. But it is the darkest shimmer shade. So I always go in with a glitter primer, and this time I'm going to take the glitter primer just a tiny bit above where my eye crease is, but I'm not going to bring it up any further than that because we're not doing any sort of like cut crease-ish look this time. We're just going to keep it nice and simple. Okay, so Ravage is this shade right here. I just take a brush as well and just kind of get the inner part of my eye, since I can't really get it that well with my nails, or else I would literally poke my eyeball out. That would be really cute. But yeah, so I just take a brush for the innermost corner of my eye. Also a little bit towards my lash line. Sometimes I miss that part with my finger for some reason. I'm just making sure that I have it a little bit above the crease. Blending it into the matte shades. Alright, so from here we're going to go into this shade right here. Super pretty like bronzy shade. Kind of wish there was more of like a coppery like shimmer in this palette. I feel like that would have just like completely just set it off. It would have been beautiful. Like maybe something like Rust but a little more orangey and like shimmery. That would have been really good. Okay, so just taking that shade, and that's going to be our inner corner highlight. And before I forget, the brow bone color is classic, so this one right here, which literally is a classic brow bone color. I see why they named it that, no. But just take that underneath the brow. But from here I'm just going to make sure everything looks nice and blended, and then I will finish up the rest of my makeup and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is the finished look. Okay, so pretty simple, very blown out, smoky eye, pretty dark for the most part. I don't know. That's just the first thing I think of when I see a neutral palette like this. So of course I had to do at least one look like this. No idea what I'm going to do for the other ones yet. Well, okay, I have one idea. Super simple. So far everything's working really nicely. Everything's blending out really smooth. I kind of wish I did a different color for the inner corner highlight, but that's like on me. That's my bad. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say. I'm so awkward sometimes. I'm sorry. I just, I'm going to use that yellow shade and I'm just so excited that I'm just ready to get into the next look. So let's go ahead and get into the next look. Okay, so I'm back. This is the look that we're going for right now. Did I try to match my shirt to my look? Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with Rust, so this shade right here. Start off really light and then start to build everything up to kind of, actually, I lied. We are actually starting with Mar. I forgot about that. So this shade right here, and then we'll blend it out with Rust. So like I said earlier, after you go into Mar, we're going to go into Rust and just kind of blending out the edges. Okay, so after Rust, we're going to go into Rubbish. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and actually let's just do the under eye part first and then we'll finish everything. So for the under eye part, we're going to take Rust, that a little bit closer to the lash line. And then after Rust, we're going to go into Rubbish. I wish I could say that with a really cool, like, English accent, by the way, but I'm not even gonna try. So from there I actually do put concealer on to cut out my crease. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then I'll be back. Okay, so now we're ready to go in with Road. I always say that weird. This shade right here, which you guys already know this is my favorite shade in the whole entire palette. So this part is going to take a little while, just trying to build up the matte shade over top of the concealer as best as we can. I just didn't want to use a glitter primer or anything like that because usually mattes don't like glitter primer very much. Probably going to cut a good majority of this out, but just going to take the flat brush and just cover the concealer the best that we can. And then from there I'm going to take Rust and blend this out and then go into Mar. That way like it's a little bit more smooth of a gradient. This side does need a little bit of fixing up, so, but that's basically what I'm going to do. Honestly, I think I'll just end it here just because now you guys already know all of the other steps that I'm going to do. And then the last step I'm going to do is take tarnish, and that'll be our inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish up the look now off camera, and then I will show you guys what everything looks like with lashes and actual makeup on my face. I'll be back. Okay, so this is the finished look. Okay, so this is the finished look. Not really too much to talk about. I basically use pretty much all of the same shadows that I've already used before. I don't really have any issues with their products really, like any of their shadows. I generally really like melt shadows, and I feel like this is quality wise really close to the Gemini palette, if not basically the same. So yeah, the only thing I mean I guess I had a little bit of difficulty building up Erode, the Me shade, the Raeann shade, the yellow shade. But that's just because, I mean, it's on top of a concealer, it's a matte shade, it's kind of, you know, especially with a brighter matte shade, I was just really trying to build it up to cover all of that concealer to make that part not look obvious. Other than that, I mean, I didn't really have any issues, but that did take some time to do that, but not anything really concerning to me. But yeah, this is the finished look. I actually really like this. I'm always hesitant when I'm doing more of a matte like cut crease because they're not the easiest thing in the whole entire world, but overall I mean I really love this color scheme. I love that yellow, like I love it so much. One thing I don't like is my eyeliner, but that's besides the point because it's literally like the worst eyeliner in the whole entire world and we're just not going to talk about it. But yeah, it's like the Voldemort of freaking eyeliners. Like, so basically I ran out of all of the black eyeliners that I had, and except one that I didn't like, and the only reason why I was keeping it is for possibly doing like a full face of makeup I didn't like / hated or whatever you want to say, but I haven't done that yet, and since I've used this again I really don't want to. Anyways, tangent. So yes, this is the second look. Let's go ahead and get into the third and final look. I don't know why I thought I just threw up like just 2 and not 3, but yes, the third and final look. Okay, so this is the third look. You know, if anything looks weird, I can't see anything. So hopefully it doesn't, but just in case my hair looks weird, I've got something in my teeth, in my nose, don't judge me, I can't see, okay? Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So this one definitely is a lot more simple than the other ones. Well, I don't really think the other ones were really like difficult necessarily, but this is more of a like more neutral look out of all of them so far. So the first shade that we're going to start off with is Rubbish. Also go in with a tiny bit of Rust. guys know, especially by now, this is my favorite color in the palette. Honestly, I think, so Erode, Rust, and Rubbish are probably my favorite colors in this palette. Okay, and Antique. I love all of those. The shimmers, I mean, the shimmers are all really nice, but for some reason I just like the mattes the most. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of glitter primer. So I'll just go on my lid and maybe like a little bit over the crease. The only bad thing about having nails is you can't, like, I can't really reach the inner corner because of how long they are, but I think that should be fine. Okay, so from there we're gonna take the shade Tarnish. So this shade right here, I'll just take that with my finger first. And then so I don't poke my eye out, we're gonna go in with a brush. Okay, so our inner corner is going to be, let's see, one second, I want to get my right brush. So the inner corner is going to be Antique. So this shade right here, this Antique shade, the one that we're putting in the inner corner, reminds me of the mac and cheese packets, like, well, the cheese like packet in the Kraft mac and cheese like box. I don't know, it's just, that was very important information and you guys just needed to know that. Okay, so after that we're gonna take Rubbish and that will go under the eye. Alright, and then we'll also gonna take a tiny bit of Rust and just keep it on the outer portion. And then of course we're gonna take the shade Classic and that will go under the brow bone. So this is basically it. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup, decide whether or not I actually want to put lashes on today because I'm leaning towards a no. But yeah, I'll go ahead and finish up the rest of my face, come back, show you guys, and we'll talk briefly, just a little bit about the palette. Alright, so this is the finished look. I know everyone likes closer-ups too. I don't know why I like further away rather than just close-ups, so I like doing both recently. I don't know. Let me know if I should like get rid of one or the other. Like, should I not do it as close? Should I keep the further away ones? Should I get rid of the further away ones? Let me know. Okay, so this look, let's see, let me look at the mirror. So yeah, a very neutral, simple look, but also some pops of color. So the inner corner is a more orangey color. I mean, technically it's still a neutral, but... And then I tried to match it, the underneath part, with this ColourPop liner. So like I said, it is coming off for some reason for me, so I think it's just because my eyes are really watery. It is what it is, especially right now because allergies. We already went over that. But yeah, so this look is pretty simple, but overall I really like it. I really just didn't feel like putting lashes on today, and when my eyes are more sensitive, they just can't hang with lashes, so I wasn't even gonna risk it today. Alright, so let's talk about the palette really fast. Now that I have done multiple different looks with the palette, and we're no longer on a first impression basis anymore. Basically, my thoughts are pretty much the same as far as like my first impressions were. The quality is really similar to the Gemini palette. I pretty much think it's the same like formula. I don't think anything has changed quality wise, and I love the Gemini palette, so with that being said, I feel like the quality of this palette is good. Like, it's really good. As far as like quality of shadows go, I wouldn't say Melt is like my favorite, but I do think that they're good and they're consistent. So with that being said, like I literally have no complaints as far as the quality goes with this palette. Some things that I want to talk about, I mean, I definitely am more intrigued with the mattes in this palette than I am the shimmers. You know, that's just kind of a personal preference sort of thing. So these are the shimmers right here. I don't know why I wanted to swatch those, but I just wanted to. Not to say anything's wrong with them. I mean, they are all gorgeous, but I definitely, from a creative standpoint, I'm definitely more like interested and more inspired by the mattes in this palette. They're very like grungy yet neutral, and I like that. Because like I said earlier, I definitely like all of my favorite shades in this palette are some of the mattes. So I'm just going to swatch those on my fingers for you. Like, these are my favorite colors in this palette, hands down. These are my favorite. So we have Antique, Erode, Rubbish, and Rust. Look at how beautiful those are. Like, when I look at this, I get major like 70s vibes from it, and I freaking love it. Like, I love it. Freaking. Why did I say freaking? Am I like 13? No, actually more like 10. That would be like more like 10, because I'm pretty sure when I was 13, I was using the F-bomb already. I think that started like, oh, I don't want to say it because I don't want it to seem like, I think I might have been 11. Anyways, so yeah, these are my favorite shades in the palette, like, end of discussion. But yeah, the formula and the quality, everything is pretty good. I literally, like I said, I have no complaints, so I don't want to keep talking you off for like no reason. It is a neutral palette. It is pricey for a neutral palette, so if you're in the market for one, you know, you might be able to get a similar look using a different palette. I'm trying to think. I think there might be a ColourPop palette that does have like that yellow shade in there, and it's more of a neutral palette. I totally can't. Is it Yes Please? I don't remember what one it is. But, you know, there might be more options for you to buy a cheaper palette that's still going to achieve the same looks. I mean, it is a neutral palette, so those really aren't hard to find. But if you are interested in this color story, I mean, these do come with a good amount of shades though. That's what makes this palette so easy to work with, is because you do have, let's see, is it 9, 3, 6? You get 10 shadows in here, so that's a decent amount of shadows. They are pretty decent size too, so I do think you're still getting like good value for what you're paying. But again, it's a neutral palette, so we'll just go from there. I sound like I'm like hating on neutral palettes, which like they're great and all, but you know, anyways, I think my like frugal part of my brain is like, to all of you guys, all of my friends, it's like, do you need it? Do you need it? Because it's so expensive. But like, honestly, if you're looking for a neutral palette, this is definitely a great option. It's gorgeous. Like, it's gorgeous. That's really all I have to say about it. Absolutely no complaints. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I could say that would be more on the negative side of this palette, just to give you pros and cons. The con would be, I guess, the price of the palette, but that's not anything new, especially if you're, you know, familiar with Melt's products. They are more on the pricey side. They're definitely more on the high-end side. So that's not anything new. The one thing, and I know I said this in one of my videos, so I don't know if it's part of this video or the first one, but I do wish they had more of a shimmery, like, copper color. That would have been really, 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 really pretty. Why am I doing this? No idea. But that would have been really pretty. Again, that doesn't make me like totally like bummed out about the palette, because there's like one shade that I wish was in there. But if there was a coppery shimmer shade, that would have just like set it off for me. It would have been perfect. I think that pretty much sums up my feelings on this palette. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We'll see you next time.